All right, Sunday charting session recording. I'm gonna make it two different videos, I think about 50 tickers each. And we'll start alphabetically. And the first one you guys asked for was AAL. So far, so good. You should be able to see the screen. Can anyone confirm? So if anyone did any of these trades, they should have been okay. We now have a whole bunch of resistance levels from prior struggles. The stock market is struggling with their June crash site, but they already did more headway than this one has. I've been flying recently, and I know the airlines are struggling, but every seat is sold and oversold. If you go to check in online, they immediately say in the app, we will give you money if you don't fly today. I think they're trying to get themselves more efficient. It has support, it has resistance, there's nothing to do right now. Apple, they just reported it's vulnerable for a dip towards 158, 154, I'm not sure. It will follow the market, or the market will follow it. It doesn't matter. It'll be in stride with the market. This is not an obvious entry point for Apple all by itself. It doesn't mean you short it. It just means that if you're looking to invest in Apple, this would not be the place to go all in. Trading wise, I would buy the dip. This was our target. It more than met it. A small dip would be healthy. Same as the market. AbbVie, it's inside of it has support, but it better hold. If it doesn't hold, it goes a lot lower. I don't have any reason why it shouldn't hold. Maybe fundamentally you should look into it to see if there is a reason. If you force me, I would say up is easier from here, or dip a little bit and continue, try to recover some of that. They just reported earnings, so there shouldn't be any headline to mess you up. Airbnb, they reported and they dipped on earnings. That was a buy the dip opportunity. I shared it, I believe. Now it's not an obvious entry point. This battle from June is significant. If they take it out, this guy, that is an opportunity. Long term, if it dips again, take it. Buy the dip. I would buy the dip again into 108 or 109. Not because it's a fantastically profitable company, because they're growing and the business is solid. Adobe, this definitely is not an obvious entry point. If they take this out, yes. If they dip, yes. Buy the dip or buy the rip, not an obvious entry point. Affirm, exactly the same comments. We've been waiting for this to happen. Finally, it did. You can take that out. We've been waiting for this to happen. Finally, it did. Definitely not a place where I'd want to start longs now. The business is great long term. The easy money is done. From here, buy the dip if it comes. If you own it for the long term, you can. If you bought it as a trade, I would trim some. All right, this one is for Res. This is an ASX, so Australian market stock. I think purple will suit you well, Res. Buying a dip. Getting long here, I don't know about that. But if you're long, you can sit in it. There are buyers below and some resistance above. AMC, go all in. Mortgage the house, the kids, the dog, the cars, everything. No, that's definitely not what you should do. The business is not good. The stock behaves like this. If you force me, I would buy put here or put spread to gently short it. Don't ever think about shorting it with big money, and definitely not traditional unlimited short like selling the stock short or selling a call. You're putting your family in danger. Family's wealth. Okay, what is this? AMD. Not an obvious entry point. Everybody now loves it. I hate it because everybody loves it. I don't hate it, but it concerns me that now everybody loves it. Couple weeks ago, no, can't find a bid anywhere. Now everybody loves it, that it rallied 45%. Buy the dip into 92. Chase a rip above 110. If they can go above 110, okay, they might have some runway. If they dip into 92-ish, I would be tempted. Amazon, exactly the same comments, but it has a messy gap here and a lot of resistance above. This is as tricky to trade as possible. On a bad day, I could be convinced to sell a put spread down here and not into the gap, but below the gap. But right here, there's nothing to do. I mean, it hit our target perfectly. Look at this. What more can I ask? Let them come down and test the footing. You know, this, and I think Microsoft, kind of represent the market. They're doing great, but they have so many reasons to go just dip 2 to 3%, maybe 5% to establish better footing. So I say it, if you're trying to break a door with your shoulder standing in front of the door, you're not going to have a lot of luck unless you're 350 pounds. You need to back up a little bit and run into it. Same. Drop a little bit to run into the walls that we're dealing with. Apps. I'm going to say this so many times today. This is not an obvious entry point. There is a gap to 25, so I wouldn't short it. But there's an opportunity to dip a little bit, and there are buyers into 21. ARKF, the most significant thing is the fact that they're finding buyers on dips. Failure to launch with a question mark. It doesn't look like it. They launch into our breakout. This breakout didn't happen, so I copied it and moved it over, and it's happening. So dips into 1850 are finding buyers so far. If that continues, then I would stay long ARK. And that probably goes for all of them. ARK, FG, what else there are. Not an obvious entry point for Broadcom. A lot of resistance, maybe a small dip. If it dips into 520 or lower, opportunity to get long for those who want it. Boeing, if you force me, I would do an iron condor. Credit call spread up here, credit put spread down here, because I think it can ping pong inside this range. It shouldn't go up. I just realized that Airbus makes much better planes from a flyer's perspective. Everything about them is better. Everything. Headroom, legroom, storage room, bins. I just flew Airbus. Forgot the number. Anyway, much better plane than all the Boeings that I've flown before. Okay. Not a fan of banks. This little poke, I should move this to here. So when a stock rallies from here to here and it spends so much time doing this, if they break out of this range, they go to here. I don't think they can do it. But the trigger is this one, 34.4. This guy. You take that out, you might be able to bum rush the bears. If it drops into 32, that's an opportunity to buy. Buy meaning bet up. Meanwhile, they could be selling rallies. If I'm long, I would book my profits and retake longs above that. I've never heard of this one. I don't know if this is the right one. BFLY. Can't be. Who asked for this? Is it Butterfly Network? What is this? This guy? Either way, not for me. Beto. I wish somebody told us to get long. I'm long crypto. I'm staying long crypto. This is long Bitcoin, which is basically long crypto. If Beto takes this out, 15, don't short it. It's probably going to 18. If Beto dips, I would get long. Where? Anywhere under 13. I want to be long crypto. From where I said I wanted to be long, I didn't load up full size position. I told you why, but I didn't close any. In fact, everything I bought at the bottom, and I did catch the bottom, I locked. So I'm not tempted to actually book profits. For example, I'm long Ethereum at 800 and change, Solana at 27.4. So that's basically catching Bitcoin down here. I did not close them. I'm staying long. So I said the silly way of trading Bitcoin, not silly, the easy way. If you're willing to buy Bitcoin or BITO, I would sell puts every week. And if I get assigned, I get assigned. For example, if I if I meant to own 500 shares of BITO, I would sell 2 puts every week. The worst case scenario is they would assign me 200 shares of my 500 I want to own. What if they don't? I would have made money out of thin air. But I'm not participating to the upside. In other words, if BITO runs, I'm not long. How did I lock profits? In what? Bitcoin? Crypto? Oh, it wasn't in BITO. I don't own BITO because I own actual crypto. The BITO trade is for me offering people who want to trade Bitcoin, who want to trade crypto without the risk of having a crypto account. So I don't own BITO. To lock profits in BITO, you just close some of the position, or you sell some covered calls against the calls you own, if you know how to do that. In my case, I locked them. I didn't lock profits. I locked them by saying to the platform, my crypto platform, you can hold my money for 3 months and I won't touch it. So they will reward me with a 3% dividend because I'm locking my money with them. Brad, it's not a bad idea, but Mara is not Bitcoin. Mara is a stock, a company that moves with Bitcoin. If you want to trade Bitcoin directly, this is the better one. Or the Ethereum one, ETHE. But it doesn't have options, you have to buy shares. BKR, Baker Hughes, not for me. This is the path I charted for it. It hit the target, but I don't have a reason to buy it. It does have support. So if you love the company, this is a decent entry point. I'm not a fan because I think they're going to bounce to here, lose it. This is not an obvious entry point. Almost the same exact comments as Bank of America. So it could rally, but I think it's it should dip to 650 first. I think it's 50 before 720. Bitcoin. This is BTCUSD. I don't know why it didn't pull up like that. Everything I just said about BITO applies here. It's the middle of the range. I would buy the dip. I would chase the rip, but I'm already long. If I'm long, I just stay long. Oh my God. They should make an easier process, like go in here and edit it. Can I? I can't. Okay. Blackstone, same comments as the bank. It has an opportunity, Bank of America. It has an opportunity to break out. Remember, Bank of America had one poke. It has support below. I remember sharing a bullish trade on this one from down here somewhere to sell a put spread and buy or buy a debit call spread and a long position to trade the range. And look at this, look at that. I'd say we did a good job. So if I wanted to trade it from here, this would be the opportunity like Bank of America. I'm not one to do that. This was the June crash. I believe the SPY already covered its June crash. So why are these guys still dragging? Not for me. Caterpillar, if somebody bought the dip, they did a good job. Has support below, has the opportunity, not definitely going to happen, to fill this gap and come back and fight for this. I know a few of you caught the dip. CLF, it's almost at my target. I wouldn't get long here. In fact, if I'm long, I would book profits because I think it's going to come back to here and collapse. Collapse is a dramatic word. I shouldn't use that. I think the rally will fade. Tempered comments, Nick. Tempered. Boom, boom. Fall off a cliff. That's funny. CME. They're selling rallies, right? 1, 2, 3. The question, is this another rally to sell? When a stock comes back to a pivotal zone like this, it does not make for an easy entry long. These are sellers lurking. So not for me here. Maybe I want to dip to 196 to prove to me that they have support. I don't know CNX, but it's fighting for support. If it goes below 15.2, I would be out. Costco, not an obvious entry point. I think this green path could be happening. But if it does take out 552, don't short it. CRM, same exact comment as Costco. It's fighting with a prior fail, maybe more than one time. So, not an obvious entry, but if it does dip anywhere below 184, it becomes interesting. They might even have an earnings report coming up. I know they report late. Okay, so late August. You can see it. Break out and chase it, or buy the dip into anywhere, but a small dip will do it. Any small dips. Shortable here. Res, I wouldn't short it. If you say shortable credit call spread, maybe an iron condor. So you would be, quote, short, but hedged and leaving room for error. So somebody's asking if it's shortable here. If you force me to short it, I would sell a call spread somewhere here safe and sell a put spread down here before the earnings. Looks good for CRM. Okay, so how much does it pay, Brad, per contract? Okay, so let's not look right now. You don't have to, but you can. We will look into it tomorrow. Crocs, not for me. I would short it if I were forced to trade it. I'll buy a put spread. No problem. Corsair, it's one of those periphery selling companies. I mean, it's decent. It's got a decent P&L. They're still growing, not as fast as the pandemic. The pandemic may have, expedited some sales, pulled some sales forward. I mean, there's nothing great about it. Going into prior fails, I wouldn't want to get long. On a dip, maybe. And if you take that out after a dip, you get to here. CrowdStrike. Higher lows, that's great. Banging on a roof. So far, the roof has held. I'm going to move it up a little bit. So now the high from last week, or maybe a week before that, whenever that day was, August 3rd, is your next trigger. And then you have a whole bunch of sellers lurking all over the place. So if they take this out, don't short it. They might get to 220. If they dip, okay, so this is a BDBR. TradingView, are you listening? You should make me the opportunity to create a pattern and replicate it without having to draw it out every time. Like I should be able to save this, copy, template. I typed it like that because I have a shortcut that does BDBR and never mind. Disney, same. Hey, let's test it out. Nope, fail. 40 cents for next week. Okay, thanks, Brad. Yeah, that's about right. Fail. I wanted it to draw like this. So what's the point? Let me save a template that you can't draw. That's weird. So if it dips, I could buy the dip and try to break out. Or if it breaks out, I just chase it. Earnings are coming. Coin flip, not for me. Ear. Don't know what that is, but this looks like a wall to me. I wouldn't touch it. Going into that and then a gap below. Ford, I wouldn't touch it, not even with my enemy's money right now. I don't understand the investors in Ford. It's like they've never seen a chart in their lives. Anyway, from a trading perspective, no touch for me. In fact, it probably will fall to 13 before it goes to 18. And even if it does look like it's going to 18, I wouldn't touch it. Not for me. 10 foot, yeah. 32 is the problem here. If they take it out, maybe they fill the gap and hit into the other problem at 35. They do have decent support. Maybe if they fill the gap into 26, it would become more interesting. Yeah, if I were you, I'd just forget the stock exists. If you rode this up and you didn't book and you're asking me to try to book profits, yes, you can book profits. If you're looking to get long here, at your own risk, I wouldn't touch it. Futu. These names, man. Okay, so this is 50% of this. I'm eyeballing that this is halfway mark. This was 50, so pretty close. Not an obvious entry point, so you can't short it. It does have support. It does have some weakness to here, but it does have support. It does have wall after wall after wall after wall after wall. So what do you want to do with this? I don't know. Credit put spread maybe if you force me. Fiverr, same exact comments. The business is good. They did not respect the business. If you're long ARK-K, ARK-G, ARK-F, or if you're long the IWM, or... Okay, let me rephrase. The last three tickers, I would rather be long the IWM because they will trade together. Hey, Devondra, I gave you a form to give me your tickers. So asking for tickers here, if we have time at the end and we don't cover them yet, I will cover them for you. So save your breath, see if we'll cover them. And at the end, if we didn't cover the tickers you want, give me the ones you want. Otherwise, on Friday, I sent out a form. So you can give me time to do the homework. No, I will cover them today, but you asking one at a time and they scroll off the page, maybe I remember, maybe I don't. Anyway, the last three tickers are small caps. They will behave like small caps. I would rather own the small caps than these. Okay. Every Friday, I post the form in all of the chat rooms, and some people even get it via email who are on email. So every Friday afternoon, look for it. It's the same form every week. You don't even, once you have the link to it, you can use it every time. I only look at the form on Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday morning. Okay, moving on. Don't know what that is. Wouldn't touch it. Looks like it's range bound. They're trying to establish some stuff. That was the IPO, whatever that was. Giant gap. So if you have support here and here, you have resistance here and here. I don't know what you're going to do with that. Study it if you want to invest in it. Gilead, not an obvious entry. I don't like leaving gaps like this. And this is a lot of resistance. So kind of like stuck in the middle of a range. Google has support below. Has the opportunity to break out from this and whatever that is. Yeah. So also kind of like maybe an iron condor in Google. Interesting. Somebody remind me. Range now. Yes, that is correct. Goldman Sachs, I believe a few of you are short. The short is still working. Same as Bank of America. If they can take out the prior fail, they can have some headway. I don't think they can. I think it'll dip a little bit and it has support. So if I sold a call spread, I'll watch it. And if it dips, I'll do a credit put spread to make an iron condor if it's possible. Goodyear. That sure looks like a big rally that I do not want to chase. This whole area looks like all these people are stuck, so they're going to be likely sellers if we get there. ICE, the easy rally is done. I believe I wanted to, or I shared a trade setup. So target one, what? Target one, look how they kissed target one and target two. Wow. So they failed at target one. They should find support. Debit call spread played out. Don't listen to this. Now we will say in here, buyers, somewhere in there. So they should find support on dips. Come back and finish the job. Just follow the yellow path. Intel, it's never been cheaper. If someone is investing in chip stocks, this is the investment. It can't find a fan anywhere. It has never been cheaper that I remember. And it is the largest of all of them. Worth a shot. Trading, not good. Investing, I think fantastic. 7.7 PE. 7.7 PE for the biggest chip company, Brains. This is not an obvious entry point for Ingersoll. Shortable even, with a tight stop. I don't know what Jack in the Box. I don't know what to say. Breakout from here, target was here. Breakout from here, target somewhere here. So I think maybe it gets to 78 and fades. There should be sellers lurking there. Johnson & Johnson, decent start for longs. In other words, this should be a good base. It should not fail. I would be comfortable selling put spreads against it if it's available. Somebody wants to see if they can get a few bucks upside. They could. I would favor the credit put spread. We're coming up on a break in the video. Not yet. This is not an entry point. But if they take $7 out, I don't know where they go. I think there's 620 before 7. LAC, this is not an entry point. This somewhat tracks Tesla every once in a while, not consistently enough. And it's not very liquid options wise, so be careful. If it dips into 24 or 23, it makes better buying opportunity. It has support. It has a lot of resistance. It's not going to be easy either way. Lennar, great recovery. I was afraid for home builders altogether. I'm still not happy with that. Construction industry is in limbo with regards to rates and who can borrow, who can refinance. So not a good entry point to me. LMT, we've nailed it. If you sold any of my credit spreads, iron condors, credit put spreads, credit call spreads, you made money. Right now it's the middle of the range. You can find another iron condor to sell, but I don't see a reason why it should go to the moon or collapse. If they take this out, they break out. So this is an opportunity from here. I don't think they can do it. If they fall to here, whoops, wrong buttons, I would buy the dip. Zone, come on, via credit put spread. I don't want to own calls. I don't want to own puts. Lowe's, the same comment as the home builders. Not for me. I don't know if you know this, but this jobs report is just junk. I personally know of dozens of people who lost their job in the last 3 weeks. 3 weeks, 2 weeks. So I don't think it's a correct number that they reported. I think it's late. I think it's garbage. I think they're going to revise it lower. Which means what? What am I saying? Companies like Home Depot, I think, are the first to struggle. If you can't refinance, you can't pull money cash out, you can't remodel, you can't spend big bucks at Home Depots and Lowe's. And the home builders will not build in that environment. So Lam Research, if it dips into 480 plus or minus 20 bucks, that would be an opportunity to get long. If it breaks out, so BDBR. So since this thing does not let us draw, so it's like this. I don't think it can do this easily. Support and resistance. Okay, so this is the break of the first video, I believe.